We got more silly season news in this episode, both in Formula 1 and in NASCAR. Haas is having a clean start, and Go Fast Racing announces its future plans for 2021. Yo, what is up, everyone? My name is Jack Krause, and welcome back to the episode of Inside the Lines. We have two stories to talk about on this show. Let's not waste any time and jump into it. We start off in Formula 1, Haas F1. Since 2016, Romain Grosjean has been part of the team, and in 2017, Kevin Magnussen joined over to replace Esteban Gutierrez. Well, in 2021, they will have a fresh, clean slate, as both drivers will not return to Haas F1 at the end of the 2020 season. Günther Steiner, the team principal of Haas F1, said in a statement, quote, "I want to extend my thanks to both Romain and Kevin for their hard work and commitment to Haas F1 over the past few seasons. Romain was a fundamental part of our establishment as we sought to get a driver on board with both speed and experience. His results in early 2016 were just a reward, not only for his own talent, but also for the sheer amount of effort the team had put in to be on the grid that season. When Kevin joined a season later, we saw an immediate return with both cars scoring points, and of course, our first double points finish in Monaco that year. We have a lot of good memories together, in particular our 2018 season when we finished 5th in the standings in only our 3rd season. Romain and Kevin have played a significant part in that success. Of course, there is still plenty of racing left in the 2020 season. It's been a challenging year, no doubt about that, but both drivers have given their all behind the wheel of the VF20. We value their inputs and experience to keep pushing the team forward through to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in December." As for my reaction, I'm not surprised that Grosjean is not returning to the team, but I'm surprised that Magnussen will be leaving to the team. I've always thought that Magnussen was a better driver to Grosjean. Almost all the time we saw Magnussen out-qualify and out-score Grosjean, especially as of late in the past 2 seasons. So to see both of them leaving, at least Magnussen leaving, is kind of a shock. As for Grosjean, I'm not surprised. I think he's been on the chopping block for quite a while now. Even many people assumed that Grosjean would not even return this year, and it was a shock when it was announced that Haas would bring him back for the 2020 season. So yeah, I thought he was on the chopping block for a while now, so to see him not returning, it's not a surprise. But at the same time, it's like you still remember the past success he's had back in 2013 when he was with Lotus, scored a couple podiums for that team. But then you also understand the other side of Romain Grosjean and the amount of accidents he's been involved in. Some even compare him to a modern-day Pastor Maldonado. Maybe not to that extent, but you kind of get the gist of it. Now, as for the future of those two drivers, many people have reported that Kevin Magnussen could take the Marcus Ericsson route and maybe find a ride in the IndyCar. There's a couple spots that are available. Chip Ganassi, who has a former F1 driver on the team in Marcus Ericsson, so could he go over and take over that spot, Kevin Magnussen? Who knows? Now, as for Romain Grosjean, what does his future look like? Well, according to a tweet that came out earlier today, or at least after the announcement, said that Romain Grosjean was found to be testing at a simulator for Mahindra last week. That could suggest that he could potentially go to Formula E next season. Again, this is also not a surprise. We have seen F1 drivers leave the sport and go over to Formula E. It is disappointing to see 2 drivers no longer be part of F1, it looks like, for next season. But now we have to find out who is going to take over those 2 spots. This is the first time really the people got to determine who is going to take over 2 cars for the team. So far in F1 silly season, it has been, okay, just 1 car. You know, for Ferrari, it was 1 car. For Racing Point, it was 1 car. This time, you got 2 cars up for grabs. Many people have pointed to maybe Nico Hülkenberg or Sergio Perez as potential drivers. Or even, by a very small chance, Callum Eott. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He was scheduled to run a test for Haas F1 during the Nürburgring race weekend. But I think really you can only start to determine, especially with Perez and Hülkenberg, depending on what happens with Red Bull Racing and what's going on with Alexander Albon. If Albon doesn't return to that team, then, you know, a lot of stuff could take place. Could see maybe Hülkenberg go to Red Bull. That was a possibility. But if Albon does return to Red Bull for 2021, then we can center maybe with around Haas F1 to around 2 or 3 drivers that could potentially take over. So, oh God, silly season is just a madness this year. Both NASCAR, Formula 1, IndyCar. We had Rosenquist go to McLaren. Oh! And now let's head into our Inside the Lines rapid fire. We start off with two drivers joining back on Twitter. Kyle Larson, for the first time since his April incident when he said a racial slur during an iRacing event, he returns to Twitter with a simple retweet thanking the people at CBS this morning and James Brown for doing that interview with him when they aired on the CBS Morning program a couple of days ago. But again, this is all lining up to see with Larson getting back into NASCAR with the announcement of him getting a ride in 2021. You know, I mean, this is a very odd, specific time for him to announce joining back on Twitter. So, but hey, very happy to see Larson back on Twitter. But another driver is returning to Twitter, and that is Noah Gragson. For those of you that don't know or don't care about social media or were involved, I guess you could say, in social media, Noah Gragson's Twitter account was hacked a few weeks ago, posting weird messages, I think it was Arabic messages or things like that. It was just odd, to say the least. But now it looks like he got his Twitter back. He even posted a little funny new profile picture to I guess, to celebrate his return to Twitter. So there you go. Nice to see Gragson get his account back, and nice to see Larson joining back to Twitter. Now on to a more serious topic. Ex-NASCAR driver Eric McClure pleads no contest to a 2018 domestic charge. The former NASCAR driver this week pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor domestic violence charge and was sentenced to probation, according to a Virginia prosecutor, in a court hearing that was long delayed by McClure's state lawmaker attorney. The Associated Press had previously reported that McClure's appeal trial after his conviction in a lower court for assault and battery against his now estranged wife was pushed back over and over again. His attorney, Jeff Campbell, repeatedly invoked the privilege of his office that grants registered lawyers broad discretion to obtain continuances in their cases. McClure, who raced in NASCAR's second-tier Xfinity Series, was arrested in February 2018 and convicted in a lower court in June of that year. He appealed, and the case was routinely delayed, at least 9 times due to Campbell's use of continuances, according to court records. More recently, proceedings were pushed back due to the coronavirus pandemic and its effects on the court system, Assistant Commonwealth's attorney Ben Roche said. Roche said that McClure was ordered to complete 1 year of active probation, complete substance abuse counseling, and undergo a mental health assessment and any recommended counseling. Miranda McClure, the estranged wife of Eric McClure, said that he choked and hit her in front of their children and 9-year-old daughter and called 911. An officer arrived to find Miranda McClure with a handprint on her face, according to a criminal complaint. And Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin's new Cup Series team next year, has announced their team name and number in a very short video posted on their new Twitter pages and website. That MJ Hamlin team name will now be called 2311 Racing, but it has been pictured as 23X iRacing, and Bubba Wallace will drive the number 23 car, obviously made famous by Michael Jordan during his time playing in the NBA. And speaking of Bubba Wallace, he has a new sponsor, a personal services sponsor with Root Insurance, that put out this, in my opinion, a badass promo that basically they went all out. They did not shy away from Bubba's adversity, what he's had to deal with in 2020 with the Confederate flag and the news incident at Talladega. It's a really awesome promo. If you have the opportunity, check it out. But Root Insurance, welcome to NASCAR. And in an awesome but surprise announcement today on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Junior Motorsports team owner Dale Earnhardt Jr. broke the news that Josh Berry has been tapped to drive the team's number 8 Chevrolet in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in approximately 12 races in the first half of the 2021 season. The news comes on the heels of Berry's NASCAR Weekly Series championship and a phenomenal late model season that included a stunning 26 wins, 36 top 5s, and 38 top 10 finishes. So it's really cool to see Josh Berry finally get an opportunity to get back into the Xfinity Series. He had this one race off appearance back in Richmond, I believe in 2015 or 2016 for Junior Motorsports. Nice to see him get more chances in Xfinity Series. He will, of course, join or at least share the number 8 car with Sam Meyer. And now on to our big story. If you remember earlier in the year, Corey LaJoie announced that he would not return to Go Fast Racing in 2021. And then question became, who would take over that 32 ride? You had Ty Dillon as a possibility. You had, at first, earlier in the year, Chase Briscoe before he was picked up by Stuart Haas for the 14 car. You even had Kyle Larson as a possibility because of that Ford-Stuart Haas relationship and Stuart speaking highly of Kyle Larson and wanting him to come back. Well, apparently there was supposed to be an announcement that was going to take place at 5:30 today, and the driver change was not the announcement. In fact, a bigger story is that for the first time in years now, Go Fast Racing will no longer become a full-time Cup team and will revert back or go back to a part-time team. According to team members, Go Fast Racing sold a portion of their charter to BJ McLeod and Matt Tifft. That's right, Matt Tifft. He's back in the NASCAR scene. He has been in the NASCAR Cup car since, I believe, the 2018 season, if I'm not mistaken. The 2018 or 2019 season, one of those two seasons. But yeah, apparently the former entrepreneur was, having a change of thought, possibly based on what's going on with the world with COVID-19, decided to sell part of his charter, and BJ McLeod and Matt Tifft took over. Right now, Go Fast Racing is working with with other teams to hire employee jobs. Currently, right now, at the moment, we don't know, first of all, number one, what races they're going to be doing and how many races they will be doing in 2021. And also, we don't have an announcement on the driver change. Although Go Fast Racing did say they will announce a driver change once all the full-time teams are locked up. And this came as a surprise, mainly because we thought that the relationship between Go Fast Racing and Keen Parts would continue. It looked like they were financially stable in order to run all 36 races. That's what I thought until this tweet came out. This came at around 7:29 a.m. today. I'm looking at the tweet right now. This is from the owner of Keen Parts, which I believe sponsors majority of Go Fast Racing's races. He put out this tweet: "Without garage access, no racing for Keen Parts in 2021." And that should have been a big sign that, okay, something's going on here. Something much bigger is going on around here. It's not just a driver change. It's a whole change on the future of the race team. And having a big sponsor like Keen Parts not returning to Go Fast Racing, it seemed evident that there was no way that you cannot run a full season, especially if, number one, if you're an underdog team. And in times like this with COVID-19, you need a big-time sponsor that's willing to commit to help fund you through the entire season. If you can't do that, then there's no way you can run the full season. When you look at Romain Racing, when Geico announced that they left, they were done. Levi Family Racing, as soon as COVID-19 hit, and Bob Levine's business started to suffer, he had to cancel. He had to quit. He had to leave NASCAR. But at least the good news is that Go Fast Racing is not leaving. They're still going to be part of NASCAR. It is disappointing, though, to see them go back to a part-time basis. But I'm very intrigued at the new owners of this charter, Matt Tifft and BJ McLeod. I mean, I expected McLeod to be some part of NASCAR in terms of ownership. He owns BJ McLeod Motorsports. He has experience in the ownership style of NASCAR. But to see Matt Tifft on board, that part shocked me. I thought Matt Tifft, when he left Front Row Motorsports, I thought he was done with NASCAR, both inside the race car and outside the racetrack. But no, Matt Tiff's back in this thing. But currently right now at the moment, no update on what the driver will be, no update on how many races they'll even participate in. But we do know for a fact Go Fast Racing will be a part-time team in 2021. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? I have mixed feelings. I'm happy that they're at least still in NASCAR, but I'm disappointed that they're not going to be running full time because I really like Go Fast Racing as a team, as an underdog team with him and Corey LaJoie. So to see them, to see Corey leave and to see Go Fast Racing go part time, it's a bit disappointing. But again, I'm happy that they're at least staying in NASCAR, not going to be like Romain Racing and Levi Family Racing, where they just close up shop. But yeah, that's going to conclude this episode of Inside the Lines. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. But until next time, my name is Jett from MDK Racing, and I'll see you guys next time.